exponential functions. General form of exponential equations is y equal b to x. This function we have two cases. When b is greater than 1, then it means that we are dealing with a growth. Thus, if you look at the graph, you will sense there is a growth. Look at the green graph. And when we speak about the domain, in any exponential function, the domain will be always all real numbers. The range in this case, y greater than 0. Asymptotes is y equals 0 or x-axis. Keep in mind this function has a y-intercept, which is the value 1, and no x-intercepts. Second case is when b is less than 1 and you are dealing with exponential decay. Look at the graph how it will look like. You can see the greenish part is going down. Going to the domain is all real numbers, the range is y greater than 0, and the asymptote is y equals 0. Type 1 of questions is to classify given exponential function, and we start with the first one, y equal 2 to x. Keep in mind that the parent function is b to x. Thus, in this case, b equal 2 and it's greater than 1. Thus, it is an exponential growth. Take the following example, y equal 1/3 to the power x, and 1/3 is less than 1. Thus, b is less than 1. Thus, we will say it is an exponential decay. Take the following example, y equal 1/5 to the power negative x, and I want you to pay attention that the power now is with negative x. Thus, to fix this issue, you have to flip the inner fraction. Thus, this is similar to 5 to the power x. So, b is equal 5, it's greater than 1, and it's an exponential growth. Another example, g of x equal e to x, and I want to remind you that e is the value of 2.7, almost 2.7, and thus b is e 2.7 and it's greater than 1, thus we will say it is a growth. Another example is to classify h of x equal 1/4 to the power negative x. Because of having negative with x, we have to flip the inner fraction. This is similar to 4 to the power x, meaning b again is 4 and it's an exponential growth. In behavior, it is the attitude of the graph when x goes in two directions. X goes to infinity and x goes to negative infinity. In the coming example, analyzing y equal 3e to x. Well, we notice that b equal e and it's greater than 1, thus it's an exponential growth. Now, I don't want to speak about sketching it. I will go to the parent function and I will graph it, and I want you just to remember two things, that the domain is all real numbers and the range in this case it is y greater than 0. Now I want to highlight something in the coming section, that when you speak of end behavior, I would advise you always to go to the xy axis. At the edges you will put infinity, infinity, negative infinity as illustrated in front of you. Now the first end behavior, as x goes to infinity, y goes to, I want you to imagine yourself shrinking and becoming part of the graph and going towards infinity. This is as x goes to infinity. I want you to check the red graph. You will notice that it goes up, and up indicate infinity. This is the first end behavior. Now we will do the second one, which is as x goes to a negative infinity, we want to test the red graph or y where it will go. Thus now you're done going to infinity. Now you will imagine yourself again shrinking and being part of the graph. You will start walking towards x to negative infinity at the left edge. And you will notice that the red graph is approaching the x-axis. But x-axis has a different name, which is y equals 0. This is why the end behavior will be as x goes to negative infinity, y will go to x-axis, which is equal 0. In the coming part, we will speak about analyzing the transformation in the function illustrated in front of you. My advice is start always from your right hand. +1 indicates go 1 up. Now, when you have a plus and minus beside x, it means left and right. My advice, understand it in an opposite way. Thus, if you see -2, it is go to right. Now, b is equally 3, it's greater than 1, thus we're dealing with the growth. Now, we will go to the part number 1/2 half, and it indicates letter A, and it is less than 1. Because it is letter A, we will say it's a vertical, less than 1 compression or shrink. Now, we need to notice that we have a negative beside half. Having negative at the start of the function, it means having a reflection on the x-axis. I want also to highlight the domain and range. The domain will be always in any exponential function or real numbers, or from negative infinity to infinity. Now, the range always starts with y. Now, because I have a negative beside the half or at the start of the function, it means a reflection on x-axis. This will force to change the sign of the range. Thus, it will become less than. Then you go to the right number at your hand, to the number at the right, which is 1, and you will put it there. Thus, the range is y less than 1. Again, we will analyze another function, and we start from our right hand. If you see -3, it means go 3 down. Now, when you're done, go to the second part, which is a +1. And understand it in another way. It is, when you see +1, it is go 1 left. Now, p equal 0.5 less than 1, it is a decay. Now we will go to 4 indicates letter A, it's a vertical because it's greater than 1, then we will say vertical stretch. The negative at the beginning of the function, it indicates reflection on the x-axis. Now, when we will go to the domain, keep in mind, any exponential function will always have a domain of all real numbers. Now, when we go to the range, I want to highlight your range will start with letter y. Now, because of having a negative at the beginning of the function, look at the screen, it is beside 4, negative. It will make the range y less than, and then you go to the value at your right hand, which is -3, and you replace it there. Now, analyzing y equal 0.9e to -x, -4 plus 6, we'll start from our right hand. +6 means go 6 up. -4 means go 4 right. Having a negative beside the x, it means that you have a reflection, but this time on y-axis. 0.9 will indicate letter A, which is vertical, and because it is less than 1, we will say vertical shrink or vertical compression. B equal E, it's greater than 1, and you are dealing with the growth. The domain will be all real number, and the range will be y greater than 6. Because the negative is beside x, it will not affect. Thank you for watching.